Good afternoon, viewers. It's Amanda J doing the day 3 of my 30-day challenge. The first link, the first video in this series is linked below, and that gives the explanation about what I'm doing and stuff like that. So I'm not going to do that every night. And it's not night anyway. It can be any time during the day, because I don't have a 9-to-5 job. Yes, about me, I am a disability pensioner, and I have a side hustle on eBay. Being a pensioner, has its ups and downs, but I wish I was a well person and was able to work. I would find that really enjoyable. Before I became sick, I did have a full-time job. I worked in the jewellery industry at a jeweller's wholesaler who had businesses in Adelaide, Melbourne and Sydney. When I left there in 95, I was managing the Sydney operations in a temporary capacity. The manager there was off on pregnancy leave. Yes, very odd business. Yep. I love, and like even before I worked there, I loved jewellery. So it is something that I still love to do. I made these earrings. I'm so good, aren't I? I sell all sorts of jewellery on my eBay platform, which I'm not going to write across the screen because I'm not going to go back and edit this. This is the whole point of these videos, is just to do an uncut version. No flashiness, no like super effects and all that shit. Just a raw video. Tell it like it is. I don't really have much to bitch about today. I haven't seen anyone. Nobody's rung me. Oh, I have seen some people. I've seen 2 delivery men. One Australia Post postie, and the other one was the parcel delivery man. So I got parcels from both. I was very excited. I got some of clothes in the mail, and I got some, wait right there, you could hear the, I'm sure. So this is insulation for one of my very big windows. And what I want to do is take the dusty old shitty ugly curtains off and just insulate it, and it looks out onto a fence and the next door neighbour's back door and that sort of thing. So it's not a window that I really want to look out of, but I really appreciate having the light coming through. So this insulation, I did see it on another girl's YouTube video, a Japanese chick who talks about how they live there, and she recommended it as something that a lot of Japanese people do to save on the cost of heating and cooling. So yes, I want to save money on heating and cooling, but even more so, I'm starting to be really conscious about the environment. Heating and cooling fucks the environment. Like, I don't know if recently you've heard about the and it says me with a fucking can in my hand. It's like aluminium, and it's not like recycled aluminium or anything like that. But the you know, there's this big gas works that's going to go in just off of Western Australian shores, and that's been some sort of thing that's happened lately in Adelaide, in Australia, political debates, but like the government swept it through because this gas company gave them some money, which that's how politics runs. And if you don't know that by now, go back to school. And probably at school they're not going to tell you that either, because they're run by the people that have this money and want to keep it. So, yep. And if you ever doubt that, I don't know how you're going to survive in the way that, you know, reality can really get you sometimes. And anyway, so yeah, this year I'm specifically trying to wear more clothes inside. I remember like I think it was during COVID, the lockdown, and it was winter here, and I had a jacket on, and I was on to someone visually on my computer, la la la. I won't call it Zoom, I won't call it any of its Kleenex names, trade names. We don't need that. We just need to know what we're doing. We need to start saying those things and reclaiming terms instead of giving everything brand names, because then we're going to pass it on to our kids and they're going to buy those things, and we're going to have a very bad situation. Anyway, so I was on to someone video chat. I had a jacket on. It was winter here, and winter had just started. So like, I have always practiced not putting on the heater at least until a month after it gets cold, and then the heater goes off at the end of August, when spring starts here, September 1st. So I liked it, and it's a better way of heating and cooling the house as well. That you don't get like the heat and cool build up. Yeah. Anyway, so I still have had like massive bills and things like that, which is really unfortunate. But I try and save. But this year, fuck using expensive heating. And like, I hope I'm going to be able to do this in the summer as well with cooling. But it's going to be extra clothes. As you can see, I've got my gloves, I've got my beanie, got my hat, it's not a hoodie, it's I don't know what they call these things. It's just a sweater with a big collar. I've never sold one, so I've never seen the descriptions of what it is. And if you don't know by now, I'm in the trade of selling clothing and jewellery. As we said before, that I've been in the jewellery trade a long time. I sell homewares and music, particularly retro music. At the moment, if you're interested, I've got a original Doors cassette. That's probably the oldest one I'm selling at the moment. That I did when I first went on to eBay. Within about 2 or 3 days, I sold a Bauhaus in the Flatfield 12-inch record. I think I sold that for about $100 and something. And I was just doing my counting up of things last night, and I think it was $91.90 that I made out of that. So that was pretty good. I calculated everything I had made last night, made for like the time I've been on eBay, which is January this year. Hold on, we've got the pause. Stop that right there. Part 2. So I still do all of my books by hand. It helps me to get a better grasp on what's going on. I sort of feel like the numbers get lost in the computers. They're just like pie charts and shit like that. I don't need pie charts. I know how to count. If something shows me a figure, I can work out that it's 10 times the other thing. I'm pretty good at maths. So we write down all of my listings, add them all up, and we got, I've put it in separate categories from the stuff from myself, which is new and used, and then stuff from my family, which is from inheritances and them clearing their shit out and stuff like that. So altogether, we got over $800 in the time January to June 30 of this year. So that was, that's pretty cool. That really helps out when you can't afford to buy what you want at the supermarket. So I really suggest people getting their own side hustles going. Yes, it does take a little bit of extra time, but really we're not all after the buck. But like clearing things out of your house and making money out of that is a very sustainable idea for the future. It means people will start to question their consumerism. If they think, oh, this is just taking up forever, I've got too much stuff, well, they're obviously going to start thinking, well, I better not buy anymore. Unless they're obviously very distracted about something else, pain in their life, there can be many things. Some people, I swear, are born stupid, but like you're not allowed to say that anymore. That's very non-PC. I try to look into why a person wouldn't know something, but then I do know there's people that do know the details and yet they don't give a fuck. So there's, I feel like there's a lot of adults that are out there that are irresponsible, and they're bringing up kids with those irresponsible attitudes, and the kids are going to be the ones that we leave the earth to and that are going to manage the earth, and they don't know shit. If I had kids, which I don't, unless there's some sort of conspiracy out there that I've actually, this is funny, before we go on to if I had kids, I was at a market once and I was just looking at stuff, it's really pretty stall, and there was this little girl next to me, and I didn't really notice her, but like there was some guys sitting behind us, and they said, oh, watch out for you. They said, hey, lady, watch out for your kid. And I said, that's not my kid. They go, look, she's a spitting image of you. And I'm like, oh, well, she's not mine. I don't have any kids. And I don't think they believed me, but like they're going to have to believe me because I don't. But unless I have been pregnant before and I have had a termination, unless the medical people that I went to for my termination took my baby, raised my baby, or sold it to someone and they raised the baby or whatever, that would be a way I would have a baby. And you try not to think of like that as a reality, but you never know. It could be a good story to have a movie or a book about. If you want to do that, that's okay. I'm not going to do it. So, you can steal my idea. I'm full of good ideas, so I don't need to do all of them. But that's a pretty horrifying idea though. But like, I know, there must be something fucking going on for so many people to be kicking up about things. I trust parts of the government and not other parts of the government. I know that the government is run by individuals, and even though the government might have a theory that they want to be like this, it gets bastardized by single people working for them and putting their own agendas before the title of their job and the obligations to their job. But that's in the most governments, most governments, including the Australian government, do have parts of it that are responsible for the corruption and misspending of funds and things like that. My dad used to work as a government auditor, and fuck it, I'm going to say it now that he's dead. I wasn't meant to say it while it was all happening, but he used to let me read the papers and stuff like that. So he was researching in Canberra, and he was doing like a I don't know what they would call it, a financial, he was like studying a financial period where where spending on government cars was going. Now, he uncovered things like people leaving their government cars on their front lawns with the key in the ignition, and then the government car would get stolen, and then, that's obviously a cost to the government. And also there was things like people letting their kids, their 18-year-old kid or something like that, take it for the night, and then the kid would write it off, and that's a cost for the government. And if anything happens to that kid, I don't know whether it did or it didn't, but that's a cost for the government. And so there was all these things that were going on with the spending on government vehicles. And man, it was a corrupt thing. And like, I think it really got shut down after my dad did this report. So I miss my dad. He died on November 27, 2024. So we got 6 or 7 months ago. I feel like I don't have much support anymore. Even though he was very ill, he still had like a stronger personality in the community or with financial things than I do. So like, he gave me support for that. So it's a man's world. Don't let them tell you otherwise. And like single women, you may as well not tell people that, because you're going to come up with problems. And maybe we'll talk about it next time. Maybe we won't, because this is random Uncut Chat with Amanda, daily for 30 days. Hope you tune in again. Hope you're loving it. Have a great day and take care of your loved ones. Take care of all the animals, all of nature, and be a good person. Bye for now.